Hello, and welcome to Getting Started with Strength Training webinar. I'm your host, Kimberly Payne, and by the end of this webinar, you'll learn about the 14 tips to getting started with strength training, what the terms like sets and reps mean, and how to select your exercises and choose a weight, and what to wear and how to stay motivated. So I remember when I was in high school, I was interested in losing weight and toning my body. And my school had a gym, but I was too intimidated to work out in there. And so my older brother, he lifted weights at home. He was doing it for a number of years. And I asked him, what he did and if he could set me up on a program. And he was quite gracious and helped me out. So he set me up on a program, and that started me in a love affair with strength training that I still have to this day. So before we start into a weight training program, some things that you're going to want to keep in mind, some tips that you want to keep in mind. The first thing is you want to check with your doctor. So, especially when you're changing a program, you want to make sure that you talk with your physician before making any significant changes to your activity level. So that's your first step. Make sure that there are no problems or issues that might interfere with your routine. The next thing is when you do start to do your strength training, you always want to make sure that you warm up with at least 5 minutes of some kind of light activity, such as walking or bicycling or swimming. Even and after you do that kind of like the 5-minute cardio sort of stuff, then you can do some stretching. So you want to do this before you actually start lifting weights. So just to get that blood pumping, get your muscles lubricated and moving, your blood flowing, and you're kind of warming up before you do any sort of strength training. So what I like to do is I usually like to do my cardiovascular activities beforehand. So I'll usually go on a treadmill or on a elliptical and do my cardio beforehand. Now if I don't have enough time to do both, then I'll just do a 5-minute warm-up, and basically that's all you need. So there are some terms that you need to familiarize yourself with when it comes to weight training. And you've heard the term free weights. Well, free weights basically are bars that have weights on each end. And these weights are adjustable. So you can take, a 2 pounds off and put a 5 pound on, or, that sort of thing. So they're free weights. They're not machines that you would use at a gym. They're usually, sometimes they sell them just as that they're not adjustable. So you'll buy a 1 pound weight, that's a free weight, or a 3 pound or an 8 pound, that sort of thing. Those are called free weights. A barbell, on the other hand, is a long bar, and it would have the weights on either end. And a dumbbell is a short bar. So a barbell is a long one, and dumbbell is a short bar. And a bench is basically any flat support that you have, and it can be similar to like a piano bench. And an ankle weight would be a weight that you could wrap around your lower leg, and it adds some resistance for you. Now, there are terms like reps and sets. Reps basically mean repetitions. So it means completing a performance of a single exercise, which includes up and down. So if you think of a bicep curl and going up and down, once, doing both the up and the down, that is 1 rep. And generally, normally when you're being set up on a program, you're going to do 10 reps. 10 to 12 is basically general for a beginner. And when you're doing 10 reps, that means 10 up and down. The sets, on the other hand, is the number of repetitions of a given exercise. So you might do, for example, 3 sets of 10 reps. So again, generally sets, you're usually starting off with about 3 sets. Now, depending on your goals, you can go higher sets and change it up. But if you're just getting started with strength training, then I would recommend 3 sets of 10 reps. So you're going up and down 10 times, and then you relax, and then you go up and down 10 more times, and then you relax, and then you go up and down 10 more times. And so that's basically, you're doing 30 up and downs altogether. But you have, between the sets, you have a break, a relaxation. Generally never more than 1 minute do you want to rest. The next thing is you want to follow your program. So weight training is a little different than cardiovascular training because you're going to train 2 to 3 times per week. And unlike cardio, where cardio you can train every single day, but with weight training you're looking at every other day. So you're going to leave about 48 hours rest in between your workouts. So, for example, you might set up to strength train on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, or I usually do Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So that gives you that 48-hour rest. Now, let's say you do want to work out every single day and you do want to do strength training. Well, you don't want to work the same muscles, every single day. So you might, let's say, just do your upper body on Mondays, and on Tuesdays your lower body, and then Wednesdays your upper body, and Thursdays your lower body. You get the picture. Basically, you just need to have that break for your muscles. Now, for length, I generally, you don't need to have a very long routine. It can be done within 30 minutes. It does depend on the equipment. And if you are at a gym or something, sometimes you have to wait for the equipment. And so it might take a little bit longer. But, my routines, basically, it can be done within 30 minutes. So when you're selecting your exercises, it's really important to have an overall development of the body and perform exercises in the order of the larger muscle groups to the smaller ones. I remember one guy at the gym, he used to come in and he only ever focused on his upper body, and he had this great chest and big biceps and triceps, but and rock hard abs, but then these little skinny legs. He never worked on his lower body at all. And you want to make sure that you have an overall development. Now, when you're working out, you don't want to exhaust your small muscles too quickly. So you do your larger groups first, your larger muscle groups. So you would start out with some exercises for your legs. Then you might look at exercises for your chest or back, and then your shoulders, your arms, and your abs. So one of my favorite exercises for legs would be like a squat. I love a squat, or a lunge even. And a good exercise for a back would be something like a seated row. And when it comes to your chest, I love a bench press. And shoulders, just a simple side and front raise. And then your triceps, maybe like an overhead press. And biceps, a bicep curl. And then your abs would be maybe using the ball to pass. So when it comes, there's so many different types of exercises that are out there. That would be a whole different presentation in and of itself. But when it comes to selecting exercises, just keep in mind that, you do want to go from the larger muscle groups to the smaller one. And then, as you are learning exercises, you can vary between the different types of programs and combine different sorts of exercises and create new ones even. When you're choosing a weight, you want to choose one when you're starting out that's heavy enough so it's tough to complete the last few reps of each set. But not so tough that your form or your technique are compromised. So you want to be able to, let's say you are doing 10 bicep curls, and so one rep is up and down, and by the time you get to the 10th curl, you're thinking, wow, I just can't do another one. That's perfect. So you basically want to make sure that it's tough, but it's not too tough. So, think about the rule of thumb that, if you're doing, let's say you're doing up and down and you get to the 6th rep and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I can't do another one. Well, then your weight is too much. You want to be able basically to do 3 sets of about 12 reps, or sorry, 10 reps. So let's say, again, for example, you're doing a bicep curl and you're going up and down and you're just doing 12, you're doing 10 and then you get 11 and 12 and you're thinking, gee, this is so easy. Well, obviously then your weight is too light and you need to make it heavier. So be sure that you're working on your technique and getting more reps before you start adding on your exercises. Technique trumps it all. And so it is really trial and error in the beginning when it comes to choosing a weight. You want to make sure that you dress properly. So wearing light, comfortable, non-restrictive clothing. I usually wear, because I do get quite warm, just shorts and a t-shirt. But I've seen all kinds of outfits at the gym, and if whatever you would wear maybe to an exercise class would be fine to wear when you're lifting weights. Shoes are important. You do want to make sure that you have good arch support and that you don't have like an open toe flip-flop sort of shoe. Again, think probably like a running shoe. So the same sort of thing that you might wear in an aerobics class. If I take off all my jewelry, you want to avoid jewelry, especially if you decide to use the machines at the gym. You definitely don't want things dangling, that might get caught. And if you wear glasses, you could consider wearing a safety strap with them as well. I've seen people lifting weights with gloves on, and that really is a personal preference. I'm not somebody who likes to wear them because I sweat too much and then I find my hands too hot. So I don't wear them, but there are people who like to wear them, but it's a personal preference. And belts, again, you sometimes see people wearing belts. That really is when you're getting into more heavy weights. They're more the men who are into that really heavy lifting. Watch your breath. Now, this is a big thing. A lot of people, when you're learning something new, you tend to hold your breath. And you don't want to do that when you're lifting weights. You want to make sure that you're breathing steadily. And so you want to exhale on exertion. So that's when you're lifting, and inhale on release. And basically, don't hold your breath because that does, it can increase your blood pressure and it can even cause you to faint. So you want to make sure that you're exhaling on exertion and inhaling on release. You want to move slowly. I've seen places, especially again, I'm picking on bicep curls, but where men can just they just throw the weights up and down, and they're trying to like just go so fast, and that's definitely not the way to do it. You want to move slowly. You want to concentrate and isolate the muscles that are being exercised. I even suggest, just touching the muscle beforehand and focusing on it. When you raise and lower the weights, you want to make sure that they're under control. And it's too easy to let momentum take over, and that makes it a lot easier. So moving slowly is best. Too much momentum just takes the resistance off your working muscles. When you're standing, you want to make sure that you have a good solid base of support. So keep your feet shoulder width apart, and your knees bent, and just have that slight bend in your lower back. But moving slowly is most important. At the end, you're going to repeat basically part of the warm-up and the stretching routine that you did in the beginning, because you want to bring your muscles back and help them to recover. Whenever you do strength training, basically what you're doing is you're shortening the muscle. And so by stretching it at the end, you're helping them to recover. You're bringing them back to where they need to be. And you definitely want to make sure you drink lots of water. You might think, well, it's not like a cardio exercise where you're sweating a lot, where you think, well, I should be drinking water. But it is just as important to drink water, and it helps your muscles to recover. To stay motivated, you consider keeping track of your sets and your reps and your weights on a program card. So you can see, okay, yeah, when I started out on my bicep curls, I did 10 reps for I was able to do one set only, and I had them started at 8 pounds, and then within 2 weeks I was able to increase the reps, and then increase the sets, and then eventually increase the weight. And it just helps you to stay motivated, to see your progress, and help you to set realistic goals. And if you're like me, it helps you to remember what you did last time as well. Other ways to stay motivated are to vary the exercise. So like I said earlier, for legs, one of my favorite exercises is a squat. But I do vary the exercises. So I'll do a lunge, other weeks as well, and do a machine leg press, a different week as well. So varying the exercises, adding new ones, variety is the spice of life, and it helps you to stay motivated. Vary the equipment. So, I like to use free weights myself, but, if you do have a gym membership, you can get, the machines and the tubing, exercise balls and kettlebells even, just, change it up a little bit and try different things that are out there. Using music, I love to use music, and I just crank it real loud, and I get into it. It helps with decreasing your boredom and increasing your tolerance to exercise. And using partners. I used to have some ladies come to my home, and we worked out together, and we called ourselves the Lifter Sisters. And it was good for encouragement and conversation, and even safety as well. And when you're just really not feeling like working out, and you meet with other women, that's wonderful, and it really helps. Change the routine. So like I said earlier, you want to vary your exercises and the equipment. So you don't want to be doing the same bicep curl, for a whole year with just free weights. You definitely need to shake it up every once in a while. It's important for your muscles to be shocked, to experience change, and there's a variety of ways that you can do that. Like I said, with different types of free weights and machines and tubing, but you can also change the intensity. You can add more weight on. You can also decrease the amount of time, so go a little bit faster, not take as long a break between your reps, or between your sets, sorry. So basically, that's that's the workshop and getting started with strength training. It's fun. It's relatively easy once you get into it and you start to get used to the exercises. You'll like the differences that you see in your muscles to get toned. Women generally, we don't bulk up. I've been doing it for years, and unless you're really into competitive weightlifting, where you're spending hours and hours at a gym, and you have a high level of testosterone, you're really not going to bulk up. So it's, when you say, okay, I want to do toning, well, the best way to do that is through weightlifting. So if you have any questions, I know I kind of went through these quickly, and it is a love of mine, a real passion of mine. And if there's any questions that you have, you can always send me an email at kimberlypayne@nexicom.net. Now, if you want to learn more from me, go a little bit further, I do have a free program, and it's called Jumpstart. And you can find that at my website at kimberlypayne.com/jumpstart. And what it does, it helps you get into the routine of strength training by introducing you to simple strength training exercises every other day. So what I do is on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I give you detailed instructions on what to do and how to do it, introducing you within those 2 weeks to 6 different exercises: Monday, Wednesday, Friday, week 1, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, week 2. And it gives you some detail on those different types of exercises that you can do, those strength training exercises. So Jumpstart runs for 2 weeks, Monday to Friday. You get the weekends off, and that's so you can catch up on any days that you miss, or repeat any challenges that you like, or just take time to rest and relax. And each day, what you do is, when you sign up, you'll receive an email, and it takes you through the 4 habits that are important for healthy living. And it's called the BEEP model, I like to call it. And it stands for Bible study, eating healthy, exercise, and prayer. So in Jumpstart, you receive an email every day with a Bible verse, a healthy eating challenge, an exercise, and then a prayer. And so it just kind of gets you into the habit of doing these spiritual and physical challenges that get you going. And it's free. It's something that you can get into and learn a little bit more about simple strength training exercises. So thanks again for joining me today. Blessings on your journey to health.